Good evening and welcome to the Drive at 5 on IntellectualRadio.com/iHeart radio station. I'm your host, Roman. We have a terrific show as planned, as usual, here on IntellectualRadio.com. Please stay tuned to Warriors Talk at 6 p.m. right after the Drive at 5. Of course, yes, I'm here by myself again because I thought it's time for us to have a conversation again. And again and again, I just think it's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the news, especially what's going on in Chicago, that's concerning. And I just want to get something off my chest that occurred, I would say, several days ago. I don't know if you remember this, but it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children's are? Do you remember that? At 10 p.m., it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children's are? And then the old school setting, when the street lights come home, bring your butt home. That's the saying around our house. When the street lights come home, come on, your butt better be at home or sitting on that porch or right in front of that house, right? Remember that? Remember that. Well, I think it's it's just time to go back to the old school setting. What happened in the last couple of weeks disturbed me as a black man, and it should disturb you as a black man or the black community, period, because two things that occurred in my mind. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children's are? Street lights, when it comes on, your butt better be at home. That doesn't apply to this generation anymore. It breaks my heart to see that teens are killing teens. Blacks are killing blacks. And they don't even teens and little kids are not even scared of their elders. They're not scared of their elders. And there's a question of why they're not scared. This generation is not scared of their elders. If I even make a face, my mom will find a shoe and throw it at me. Or she had to chase me around. Or when she catch me, oh, it's over. What happened to those days? What happened that when a 10-year-old or 11-year-old gets out of line, that uncle steps in if there's no father and say, no, bruh. If you're going to do that to your mom, you got to deal with me. What happened to those days? What happened to the days where you don't have to have that uncle? You just have to have that person in your life, and you call him, he'll set that person straight right then and right there. What happened? What happened? The reason I'm bringing this up is because what disturbed my heart, what happened a couple of days ago, a reverend was shot and killed just mowing his lawn. A firefighter. He was a pillar in the community. He was a military vet, just doing him. Shot and killed. They said, well, it was a robbery. Well, okay, let's buy that. It was a robbery. Now explain to me what happened when this girl was just in the car, a young woman in the car. You know how sometimes us 40-year-olds, we have to wait in the car, you know, got to relax, relate, release a little bit before you go back to some more attention. Her life was gone just because she was in her car. A woman, again, in her car. No, actually, in her house, shot in the head from a stray bullet. Can you answer this question, IntellectualRadio.com? What the hell is going on with our teens? What the hell is going on with our people, our children? And we're not even setting them straight. What's going on? I let me know, because it doesn't make sense that we have all these damn organizations that get money and our crime rate is still damn too high. Can you explain that New York is the top of the population in the US and they have less murders than Chicago? California have more people than us. And guess what? We have more murders and shootings, by the way, than California, New York put together, and other states. So what's going on? Tell me. I don't understand. I don't understand. Is it the music? Is it the leadership? Then what? Explain to me, brothers and sisters, because for the life of me, I don't understand. I recall, and before I even got to this mic, I re-looked at the statistics of this weekend. You're telling me 80 shootings, victims, shooting victims, and 12 murders? 12 killings? You just can't figure this out. And then what really burned me up, you know, in media you have sound bites. And in that sound bite, you have politicians. And yes, I'm going to say it. Mayor Mohawk got on there and basically said the following: I am sick and tired and I had enough. Huh, I just had enough. Who cares you have enough? You have the power to do something. That's that bothers the hell out of me. Remember, there was a reason why I first started off this show. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? There were people in the city council was going to reintroduce curfew. And he said no. And he will veto it. You don't believe me? Look it up. A couple of days ago. That right there pissed me off. There is no reason a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, or a 14-year-old out late at night. You remember the old saying, Earl? The old saying, if a female is out, only thing is legs sticking up some damn where. That's the old saying. And you wonder why We're in the situation that we're in the Black community. The mayor rejected the curfew. And I said this a long time ago. Curfew saves lives. It saves lives. And a lot of people can't even stand their own children. You're the one that raised them. If you don't like them, there are other alternatives. Put them in a military school. If you can't control them, there are other ways. Can you believe what's going on? That parents are allowing their children to stay out all types of night, go any kind of way, where, without needing even supervision. I just want to tell you this story right quick. I was one that was very instrumental back when Rom first came into office, that he said he was looking for transparency. He wanted to solve the crime. He wanted to do everything imagined. And a lot of people don't know this, but I'm just going to have to tell you this story to let you know I got credibility here. My buddy, Ronald Holt, was the head of the CAPS division at the time. Him and I talked for a very long time, and he said, "Well, Roman, um, it's a lot that's been going on and stuff like that. And what we're trying to do is build relationships and stuff like that with the community. If something happens down the street, Miss Thompson have my private number to call me. Don't call the precinct, call me. And I come down there and deal with it. So you won't have to be identified." I remember those days. And guess who dismantled that? And I'll get to that person in a second. We came up with this plan. And I said, you know what? We need to go back in a day where the media, when it's the 10 o'clock news, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? And they had basketball celebrities, so forth and so on. We even had the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, to do one. We put restrictions to 3 strikes and you're out rule. We will find the parents. And I know some of you out there would say, well, what if the parents work at night and stuff like that? Boo the hell who? Who cares? If the parent works at night, it's your responsibility to make sure your children is safe and not out in the streets. You got an uncle, you got an auntie, you got a grandmama, you got this, you got that. I know some people say, well, I don't have nobody. Well, what do you want? Because this is not the answer. We did it for 1 year. It passed overwhelmingly in city council to reinstitute the curfew with penalties. You had 3 strikes and you're out. You will get fined. We will revoke your license. You got to do something with your child. And guess what? Everything was going well. Even the statistics. We even had a truancy car for every precinct. If a child missed school, every police district had a truancy car. But there's this guy that I told you by name, Gary McCarthy, came in, wiped the legislation we all worked hard on. I was pissed. I was livid because I worked my heart out to reinstitute the curfew. Not only did Ronald Holt recognize my hard work, effort, he even gave me a certificate that I still cherish to this day to say, I appreciate what you have done, even though Chicago doesn't even know you did it. You don't believe me? Ask him. Then you have Gary McCarthy come in. We need more cops on the street and blah, 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 blah. Did that work? Did that work? The answer is no. The statistics went backwards. We had Channel 2, Channel 7, Channel 5, Channel 9, 32, even Channel 26 played. Do you know where your children are? We had every station. And then I was complaining because they didn't want to play it at 10 o'clock because they said there's more money. And I said, you're talking about seconds. You're going to lose millions of dollars for 20 to 30 seconds? Are you kidding me? During the CAPS meeting, we had them to report the truancy report. How many of your children that they had to pick up in the curfew? How many parents were fined in the neighborhood? We didn't name them. We just showed you the statistics. And that was it. And the parents and the grandparents and people in the neighborhood said, I'm going to be ashamed. We even told the pastors. We put it to organizations. And it was working like a unit. And then here comes somebody like by the name of Gary McCarthy and basically say, we need just more police officers on the street. Just dismantle everything. And then the mayor agreed. He didn't even want to be man enough to even tell me. Even though that's years ago. A lot of people say, well, it'll be ineffective. I don't see what's going on. Nah, it'll be effective. Curfew is effective because there is still no reason that a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 10 to 15 years old, no matter if they're a man, a teenager, male teenager, or a woman teenager, or a girl teenager, however you put it, why are they out late at night? Why are they driving in grown men's cars listening to I put my D in a P and then this right here, and the music is so absurd. Tell you another story. I got fed up with the music at that same period and challenged WGCI and Power 92. Had a talk with them. And they said, well, that's how the music is. No, R&B wasn't like that. Remember, Teddy Pendergrass said, come over to my place. But he never used the D word. He never used the P word. He never talked about the size of his genitalia. You can listen to Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye never said anything remotely like that. I remember the Moments had Come On Sexy Mama. Only thing that was descriptive, I make your draws good and funky. Come on now. I will make your draws good and funky. It was left to your imagination. We agreed, and I was working with Pastor Paul Jakes with this. I came up with a solution, and my godfather at the time, Paul Davis. We made GCI play parental advisory for the music they were playing. It got too much. It was too much. Too much that you basically said, put on air that I will eat you out like groceries. Eat you out like groceries. I just don't understand it, people. I just don't. We we came to an agreement. This is before GCI took iHeart took over GCI. And the guy at the time, I don't know if he's still there, um, white guy, we had a meeting and I said the importance of airing the curfew, the importance of airing the parental advisory for the music because music creates violence. And he said, no, it doesn't. It's the First Amendment. Then I say, go ahead and play F the Police. Go ahead, play it. It's the First Amendment. It's the First Amendment, right? He's like, but that's a different. No, it's no difference. So why GCI and Power 92 want to play black women are sluts, whores, but they don't want to play F the Police? It's okay to play kill the black man, kill that person. You angry, kill that person, rob that person, but you don't want to play F the Police. Why won't you call them? Call GCI and Power 92 right now and tell them to play F the Police by NWA. Tell them to play that. I guess what? They never played it. You talk about racism right now. We are going backwards, and a lot of people are saying, why are you saying we're going backwards? Because we are. We are. When you have a mayor that looks like us, and I'm not going to say sound like us, that look like us and say no to curfew, you just defecated on the black community's safety that everyone should take seriously. Remember the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, right? We don't have the village anymore, people. We just don't. And there's a reason we don't have a village because the music separates us. The political powers that be separates us. H. Rap Brown said, only us can defeat us. Only us can protect us. Last week we had the people that represented the um Black Fire Brigade and black firefighters, and they have a lawsuit. And they said they're doing whatever they can to boost up the numbers to have more blacks in the Chicago Police Department. They even set up programs that you can just pick up the phone and have people to just go ahead and say, okay, we'll take the program up so they can become potential firefighters. When you look at the numbers, there's a reason why they don't want us to be firefighters. There's a reason why they don't want us to be cops. You can say, yeah, it's hidden racism. It is. A lot of people say, no, that's no, 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 no. It is. It is. No matter how you look at it, it is. No matter how you are confronted with the situation, we are living in a time that our civil rights is slowly vanishing, and we're not doing a damn thing about it. I mentioned earlier about what the hell these organizations are doing with the crime. There is there is no way if I was mayor and I'm giving these organizations millions and millions of dollars and there's nothing in the legislation to hold them accountable for it. I was the first one when I started here on IntellectualRadio.com in 2014. And every politician I had to correct and said, oh, in order to stop it, I said, if you can stop crime, you'll be a trillionaire. You can curb it. You cannot stop it. The biggest one, I said that to um, Kennedy that was here. I said it to every politician that used the word, I can stop crime. You never can stop crime. You can curb it. Why you think now they mention curb it? They get it from Intellectual Radio Drive at 5. Go back to the earlier tapes. They sit here and they pretend like they know it all, but they don't. I just don't get it. Organizations that receive money, and here's the funny part about it: you have church organizations that receive money. Well, we're going to have this program. Okay, what kind of program do you gonna have to curb the violence? Oh well, we're gonna open up the church doors. We're gonna play basketball and stuff like that. Been there, done that. Now we're in a serious, dangerous place now. And you want to know what that danger is? And I'm just gonna tell you what that danger is. The danger is our teens, our little ones are dictating our identity, and this is how the black community is going to be. That's no matter how you look at it, this is how it's happening. This is how it's going to be because little Pookie over here that has a Mac 10 will pop everybody on sight if you look at him funny. Always have a beef with little Ray Ray. Make it make sense. The sense is if I know there is terrorism, and because what's going on now is right, it is domestic terrorists. They are domestic terrorists. Well, my son is not a domestic terrorist. Nah, he's just like you and I. No. If he goes around shooting people, robbing people, terrorizing people, he's nothing but a little terrorist. Tell me otherwise. You got churches out here, churches that gets millions of dollars, supposed to be out here curbing the violence, not doing a damn thing out on the street. Not doing a damn thing on the street. Y'all supposed to, I said this a while back during the pandemic. And I said, why you guys, I don't understand why Mayor Leftfoot just didn't take the offer from Pritzker to put in the National Guard. We were the murder capital of the nation during the pandemic. And nobody couldn't explain that. Kids having underground COVID parties. But the church down the street received money, millions of dollars to curb the violence. Then your auntie, your grandmom, and all of this house this little terrorist, right? And the preacher doesn't even call him out or call her out. I keep on telling you guys. A lot of people say it's all about the money. Money makes everything. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I will tell you this much. I'm going to tell you this much. LaShawn Ford had it right. When he first became state representative, we were in the 600 to 700 homicide. The shootings were up off the charts. And he said, it's time to bring the National Guard. The same organizations, the same churches that I'm talking about said, oh, no, blah, 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 no. And you shot it down. Then you had a former commissioner by the name of Richard Boykin that basically said, it's time to call for a state of emergency in Cook County. I even worked on him on the Cook County curfew. And people was making fun of him. And he even said, let's have a conversation with the UN. And people's like, oh, he wants to bring in the UN. We're a foreign country, blah, 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 so forth and so on. You're not listening. You want to believe what you want to believe instead of listening. And that's why we have a problem in our community. Do you know that before the summer is over, some of your kids, if not majority of your children, will have no school? Make it make sense. They're talking about school closing, right? Make it make sense, everybody. That you have principals, black principals at that, scrambling around trying to figure out whether they will have a job in the fall. I'm going somewhere with this. When you have people that sit there and say no to this, no to that, no to this, and don't bring a damn thing to the kitchen table, Guess what? You don't listen to them. My mom has wisdom, and wisdom trumps any any PhD. Any type of degrees that you have. When you have wisdom, trust me, you're a survivor. And the wisdom is that one time we had a family reunion, and I remember she was saying everybody was talking about this and that and the other, and she's like, "You're not a cook, you're not a cook, you're not a cook." I'm talking to the cooks at the table here. And that's what I'm trying to talk to right about now. Where are the cooks that sit here and complain all the time and say, "Well, Roman, you're sitting there." Somebody even said that last time, and I said, "You know what? Next time I have a rant, I'll tell you my credentials." So there you have it. I've been instrumental in several legislations. Don't get it twisted. Several legislation. The curfew, which I mentioned that you probably didn't even know, not only the city curfew, but the county curfew. Okay? And then your Mayor Mohawk, dismissed the one. Yeah, that one. Number three, when people were shooting at these funerals, who were instrumental in having a task force design? You're looking at them. You're looking at them. It's on the books, it's on the table. And when I see there's a shooting at the funeral, I go ballistic. And I still have conversations with Richard Boykin, and he will say, "It's there. I don't know why they don't implement it. It's there. I don't understand what's going on." The curfew legislation is there. They're not implementing it. The funeral task force came up with the plan. It's there, but they're not implementing it. So what's wrong? Why they're not implementing it? Because you listen to the people who not the cooks at the table. Because we're messing with their money. It's a money thing, right? With the flood. And yeah, I'm ranting. With the flood. Only thing you have to do is just look at Channel 9. Who brought the damn attorney in to basically say, "This is not right. We want answers." Until this day, the city refused to give us answers. When the last time you cleaned up the damn sewers in the hood? When? But Roman don't know. Yeah, I put the attorney in. And I keep on telling that people don't. Yeah, I was the one that did that. When I looked at the other statistics that see we had a high recidivism rate, and I'm seeing organizations that's kind of penny pitching on these ex-felons that's trying to do right, I said I have to do something. And that's why I do the expungement monthly. And we're going to do it twice a month in the fall. And I come up with this program to help not only ex-offenders, but people like you who wants to learn the law. When people sit there and say, I talk a good game, what have I done? Then you haven't looked up Roman Morrow. Trust me on this. You don't think why I'm mentioning the things that I'm mentioning is because those two individuals that shot that reverend were young teenagers. And guess what? And I'm bringing this home. You wonder why they profile us? Look at what they have on. They had dreadlocks and it was 90 degrees. They had long sleeve jumpsuits on. You wonder why some people get profiled? You're wearing hoodies in a 90-degree weather and you wonder why the police is stopping you. Kudos to that parent who decided to turn her son in. We're still waiting for the other one. I feel for that parent. But again, it goes to show you not only the failure of that single mother because she was just there by herself and you can see it in the media camera. It was just her. His life is over because the prosecution probably going to try him as an adult. I don't, and it goes back to what I said before. A lot of people have said there's nothing for these teens to do. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. If you don't like something, say something. There is no excuse for those little boys to shoot a veteran while cleaning up his yard. There is no excuse for teens to have guns that's bigger than their bodies. Earlier this year, hearing stories that 10 and 11-year-olds are carjacking people. I haven't heard that, blah, blah, blah. You're making it up. Look it up. It's the economy. No, it's not. It's bad parenting. That's what it is. It's bad parenting. Black parents don't want to be responsible. There is no accountability for black parents. It's either racial or this, that, or the other. There is no accountability. It needs to be. It needs to be. And people really think that curfew doesn't solve problems, then answer this question. Why these little boys and little girls are getting shot. You can't even play outside in the daylight and they'll get shot. I even said, are they doing some type of purging out here? Everybody said no. Well, account for that little girl right there. Nobody wasn't near her. Account for that. Nobody can say anything. And then I sit here and I say to myself, when a black man walks out the door, do you know that it's a 50 to 75% chance that brother will not make it back home? Until we realize that, we're in trouble. Do you realize that there is a 35% to 40% of a teenage girl not making it back home? Not because of the shooting, because they're snatching black women. But you don't hear me because you listen to the no cooks at the table that only looks out for their damn selves, not for the community, not for your survival. They just here to get their piece of the pie, their money. Are you here to elevate minds or take minds away? That's a huge problem. When people sit there and say why I'm on the mayor and why I'm on the AG, which I call him um lazy ass Raul, is because I've seen better and I know better. When a mayor sits there and say no to curfew, that's a huge problem and you don't have an answer for it. You don't. If somebody say, Roman, you can do better, well, I have. And I have the statistics to show it. I was the one that created with the with Antisha Brown. We created the Halloween safety party. We created that to make sure children were safe. But nobody hears me. Nobody hears me when the children get shot and killed, and every single time you see the mother crying. And you hear the minister saying, I'm sick and tired of hearing mothers crying. You don't do nothing about it. So stop all this yappity yap and do something about it then. Go downtown. Talk to Mayor Mohawk. Go to the AG office and say it's time to do something. But hey, we're not even discussing some of the crimes that's being committed by the migrants that's pretending to be black. We're not talking about that. But I'm putting it out there. They are. Mayor Mohawk got them thinking that they're kings and queens of Chicago. They could do whatever in the hell they want to. I'm sitting there seeing on video on Facebook that they're race car driving, ski marking on the streets of Wacker Drive. And they're just saying they're just not doing anything. Just let them do whatever in the hell they want to do. This rant, I hope, gets to somebody because it doesn't make sense for someone to tell me that 2 teenagers shot and killed a veteran, a reverend, a firefighter over for some money, where they could have just did it any kind of way. For what? For Jordans? For what? Just to have money in your pocket? For what? Because you can get away with it. That's the answer. Majority of the answer is in Chicago, these teens can get away with it. They can get away with calling their mom a hoe. They can get away with my no good ass daddy. They can get away with that. Back in the day, if I would have said that, I would have I would have picked myself off the damn floor. Kids are raising kids. I just don't understand it. Don't understand it, Earl. It's kind of like you're grown enough to open your legs, but at the same token, you want to talk about what you don't have, and you're a single mother, right? You want to talk and walk the walk and become some type of gold digger and stuff like that, right? Yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's going on. And I constantly tell you guys, right here, right now, you really think that Donald Trump cares about black people? Because I'm going to go somewhere with this. Then you're wrong. He doesn't care. He thinks blacks are 3/5 of a person. Why you think he thinks he won the election? He almost said it a couple of nights ago. He almost said it. That's why he thinks the way he thinks. He won. Because blacks voted Biden in. But nobody doesn't want to hear that argument. Our civil rights in voting, owning entrepreneurship, everything is going to go backwards to the 1940s. And you think that's hell. You think when we was doing these so-called the George Floyd riots, we thought we was doing something. Only thing we got out of it was Juneteenth. We had like I said, the last rant, our priorities are messed up, people. Our priorities are just messed up. I think I let a lot out, Earl. I let a lot out. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, listening to my rant. I really appreciate it. That's going to do it for us on the Drive at 5. Thanks to Earl Winfrey, our executive producer. Wonder behind the scenes. You guys have a wonderful week. And guess what? Charles Thomas is going to be in the seat July 8th. Look at that. You guys have a wonderful week.